Hey there, thinkers! Welcome back to Critical Hit. My name is S, and so I do apologize. I didn't see this until yesterday. So, breaking news-ish, people. The Gina Carano vs. Disney court has finally resurfaced. And it's a shocking reminder of Disney's troubling behavior. For those who need a refresher, Gina Carano was one of the leading stars in The Mandalorian until Disney decided to publicly humiliate and fire her over a few harmless tweets. Yes, you heard that right. Disney bent over backwards to appease a small, overly sensitive group of people, blowing her tweets completely out of proportion. The response? Disney just didn't quietly remove her. They went all out, stripping away her character, her role in The Mandalorian, and even the Rangers of the New Republic series, which was being created specifically for her. They didn't even have the decency to handle it privately. They publicly fired her on Twitter. But Gina Carano wasn't going to let Disney walk all over her. No, she stood her ground and said, "Bring it on." And when Elon Musk tweeted, "If you were unfairly treated by your employer due to posting or liking something on this platform, we will fund your legal bill. No limit, please let us know." Gina Carano wasted no time reaching out. After hearing her story, Elon threw his full support behind her, and well, the rest is history. Once Musk got involved, Disney likely went into full-blown panic mode. And their usual playbook by financially crushing those who dare speak out against them until they're left with, well, nothing, was no longer an option. Now, with one of the richest men in the world backing her, Disney's ruthless tactics have hit a massive wall, leaving them scrambling to save face. However, I have a few things to show off here, but before I do, I have a small request. If you're new here, consider hitting the subscribe button, smashing that like, and ring the bell to be notified for our next video. We would greatly appreciate this, since this will help us appease those YouTube algorithm gods, so we thank you. Now, let me give you our thoughts on this, and let's get into this article from Deadline. The title reads, Disney loses latest attempt to stall trial over Gina Carano's Mandalorian firing. Sex discrimination case goes before jury next year. Now, Disney suffers another blow in its bid to delay the trial over Gina Carano's firing from The Mandalorian. As the company's latest attempt to stall the proceedings has failed, the high-profile sex discrimination lawsuit sparked by Gina Carano's controversial dismissal is now set to go before jury next year, putting Disney's actions under intense public scrutiny. Despite the company's efforts to sideline the case, it is now forced to face allegations of wrongful termination, raising serious questions about its treatment of women in the entertainment industry. Now, Disney has been desperately trying to dodge accountability by seeking to get the case dismissed, hoping to avoid the crucial discovery phase. For those unfamiliar, discovery is the part of the legal process where all the evidence must be revealed, meaning Disney's dirty little secrets could be exposed. They clearly don't want the public to see the incriminating emails sent to Gina Carano or the nasty, unprofessional comments made by their own employees. Instead of facing the truth, they've been dragging this out, stalling in hopes to having the case being thrown out. But in satisfying turn of events, Gina shared that Disney's latest appeal was denied again, and that's so fitting. The article reads here, unless there is a shift in legal force or a big bucks settlement, Disney and Gina Carano will go head-to-head at trial next year over the former mixed martial artist 2021 firing from The Mandalorian. The trial will start September 29, 2025, to be specific. After having beaten the House of Mouse and its Daniel Petruccelli-led legal team's move earlier this year to get her Elon Musk-backed sex discrimination and wrongful dismissal suit tossed, Carano this week has scored another winner, with the federal judge denying Disney's desire for a stay of proceedings and interlocutory appeal. See, Disney is once again facing the consequences of its reckless decision-making as it heads to court next year to face off against Gina Carano in what will likely be a very high-profile trial. This legal battle highlights Disney's failure to handle the situation responsibly from the start, resulting in a lawsuit that has not only survived attempts to be dismissed, but has also been backed by significant resources, including Elon Musk's support. The fact that the federal judge has denied Disney's latest attempt to delay the case speaks massive volumes about the company's shaky legal position. Disney's aggressive move to fire Gina Carano over politically charged reasons appears to be backfiring in a big way, opening the door to potential significant damages. This ongoing legal struggle continues to expose Disney's lack of accountability and the dangerous precedent it has set for silencing those who don't align with its agenda. As the trial looms, Disney's tarnished reputation and questionable legal strategies are bound to be scrutinized even further, adding to the long list of controversies surrounding the company in recent years. This is just yet another example of Disney's mismanaging of high-stakes situations, raising questions about the competence and ethical standards within its leadership. Goes on to say, having considered the parties' submissions, the relevant law, and the record in this case, the court denies the motion, U.S. District Judge Charlene Peace Garnett wrote earlier this week. In refusing to give the green light to Disney's hopes of taking the matter to another court and overturning her July 24 decision, rejecting their motion for dismissal, the ruling has set the clock ticking on the trial. In fact, with her previous ruling being challenged by the very nature of Disney's latest motion and desire for an appeal, Garnett made sure to knock down any notion Disney and its outside counsel may or may not have had in getting the upper hand. So it looks like Disney's legal woes just continue to mount, as the U.S. District Judge decisively shuts down the entertainment giant's latest attempt to manipulate the legal process, in a blow to Disney's ambitions of escaping accountability. The judge denied their motion to transfer the case, essentially calling out the company's tactics for, well, what they are: delaying and deflecting responsibility. And honestly, this marks yet another moment where Disney, despite its wealth and influence, can't seem to wriggle free from the consequences of its own actions. It's becoming increasingly clear that Disney would rather play legal games than face the music. With the clock now ticking on the trial, their arrogance is catching up to them. Instead of owning up to their missteps, they're resorting to legal maneuvers in a bid to escape judgment, highlighting just how far they've fallen from their once golden reputation. Like Disney, it seems, is more interested in dodging accountability than doing the right thing by those they've wronged. Goes on to say, defendants do not, however, explain how the Ninth Circuit opinion affirming the court's order to alleviate the burden of responding to the discovery plaintiff has propounded to date, nor is it apparent to the court how such a decision could provide such relief. Garnett writes in a 10-page order, in any event, arguments regarding discovery, which the court notes, were not at issue in the order, do not appear to have any bearing on the termination of the litigation, and do not persuade the court that certification is appropriate here. Wow, the legalese. In other words, don't waste my time, we're all adults here. Pretty much. In fact, the judge may have tipped her hand to her take on all this last month when she decided that there would be no need for an oral argument on either the appeal certification or the stay by the lawyers. On September 19th, the case docket said, "No appearance necessary." See, this is a clear indicator of Disney's continued attempts to delay and complicate legal proceedings. A strategy that isn't just ineffective, but wasteful of the court's time. Judge Garnett's responses highlights how Disney's legal team is trying to avoid dealing with the discovery phase, a key part of litigation, instead of addressing the core issues head-on by attempting to drag out the process with unnecessary appeals and stay requests. Like, Disney is displaying not only a disregard for the judicial system, but also a lack of accountability. It's apparent that the company is scrambling to avoid transparency in this case, knowing full well that the discovery phase could expose deeper issues. The court's dismissal of Disney's efforts as irrelevant or without merit speaks volumes about the corporation's behaviors. Rather than owning up to its obligations, Disney is playing games, trying to evade responsibility by tying up the case in red tape. This kind of behavior only reinforces the perception that Disney is more interested in protecting its own interests than acting in good faith. It continues here, with this new order from Garnett allowing Discovery to move forward, it means Carano and her lawyers will be getting a look soonish at what went on internally at Disney 3 years ago in the lead up to the firing of the on-the-rise actress who played Rebel Shock Trooper Cara Dune on The Mandalorian, over views she expressed on social media and otherwise. Whether this leads to injunction that will get Carano her job back is a whole other matter. Still, in also seeking a variety of unspecified damages, Carano was taking the win today. I'm obviously very pleased with the opportunity to keep moving forward with the judicial process into discovery, she wrote Thursday on social media of the October 15th order, which, while I wish this was not necessary, as it's not my desire to be in battle in court, I will not shrink away from it because it's hard or uncomfortable. Ooh, it looks like Disney is about to face a significant reckoning with the move to allow discovery in Gina Carano's case. For a company that often touts its progressive values, Disney's actions behind closed doors are about to be exposed. So the decision to fire Carano over her social media posts may reveal a troubling double standard, especially as other Disney employees have expressed controversial opinions with little to no repercussions. The fact that Carano, whose character resonated with the Mandalorian fans, was dismissed so abruptly should raise some serious questions about how far Disney is willing to go to suppress opinions that don't align with its current corporate agenda. This discovery process could potentially pull back the curtain on Disney's internal workings and expose a level of hypocrisy and ideological gatekeeping that contradicts its public-facing image. Like Disney's attempts to control narratives, especially regarding free speech and expressions, are likely to backfire on them. If damaging evidence surfaces, it could further tarnish the company's already declining reputation, leaving it wide open for even more backlash. Instead of taking responsibility, Disney has opted for silencing voices, which may prove disastrous when the truth comes out. Says here that Disney had no comment on this latest turn in the Carano's case when contacted by Disney. I mean, of course they didn't. However, in its April 9th dismissal motion against Carano's suit over being fired from The Mandalorian, Disney instead, as it had before, that the ex-martial art fighter lost her high-profile Star Wars series gig 3 years ago because of her decision to publicly trivialize the Holocaust by comparing criticism of political conservatives to the annihilation of millions of Jewish people, notably not thousands, was the final straw for Disney. After portraying fan fave bounty hunter Cara Dune for 2 seasons, this all came to a breaking point when Carano shared a TikTok post in 2021 that looked to compare the current divided political climate in the America to Nazi Germany. Seriously, Disney's silence speaks volumes about the handling of Gina Carano's situation. By offering no comment on the latest developments, the company continues its pattern of dodging accountability for its actions. While Disney claims Carano's dismissal was due to her comparison of controversial political persecutions to the Holocaust, the reality is much more complex than that. Carano's comments, though controversial, reflect a broader cultural divide, and Disney's swift termination reeks of hypocrisy in a landscape where they selectively enforce moral standards. The fact remains that Carano was fired not for any violent or malicious behavior, but for making a statement that, however misguided, fit into a wider conversation about freedom of speech and differing political viewpoints. Disney has overlooked or even rewarded other individuals in their ranks for equally polarizing stances on social issues. So why the inconsistency? The company's inability to confront its own double standards is telling. Disney's brand, built on family values and inclusivity, seems to fall apart when those values challenge their own corporate interests or broader political leanings. By continually dodging the Carano case, Disney fails to address why they choose to selectively punish based on political leanings, alienating a mass portion of their audience in the process. It's an indication that Disney is more interested in curating a narrative that suits its agenda than truly standing by any consistent principles. Responding in May, Carano's lawyers said, after admitting that they discriminated against Carano for her personal political beliefs and subjugated her to disparate treatment from her similarly situated male co-stars, the Walt Disney Company, Lucasfilm Limited, and Huckleberry Industries, collectively defendants, asserted that the First Amendment to the U.S. Constitution gives them absolute immunity. While defendants are incorrect, clearly to some small degree at least, the judge in the case agrees. Disney's attempt to cloak themselves in the First Amendment while openly admitting to discriminatory practices against Gina Carano, reveals a troubling hypocrisy. Their argument underscores a blatant disregard for fairness and accountability in the workplace. By acknowledging that they discriminated against Carano for her personal political beliefs, they not only undermine their own legal defenses, but also expose the disingenuousness of their corporate values. It's astonishing that a company with such influence and resources would fail to uphold the principles of equality and respect for diverse viewpoints. This case serves as a glaring reminder that Disney's commitment to inclusivity may be nothing more than a fucking facade, and their actions are more reflective of toxic corporate culture than the family-friendly image they purport to maintain. The judge's partial agreement only emphasizes the weight of their own missteps and the urgent need for Disney to reckon with the ramifications of its own policies. So yeah, this is huge news, and congratulations to Gina on this big win. Moral of the story, never back down from your principles. I stand firmly with Gina, and I eagerly await the revelations from this case that will expose the injustices that she's faced. It's time for Disney's dark practices to be unveiled, shedding light on the toxic culture that permeates their company and the mistreatment of those who dare to challenge it. However, those are my thoughts on Gina Carano's case. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. And hey, before you go, subscribe to our channel, smash that like button, and ring the bell to be notified for our next video. As always, this is Est, and I'm signing off now, so I'll see you in the next one. Toodles!